Hello and welcome to another very special episode of The Robust Marketer. I'm Eric Dick, CEO and co-founder of iStack Training, and we're having another one of our conversations with e-commerce all-stars here in Atlanta, Georgia. We're in a fabulous mansion here, discussing some really relevant stuff going on with e-commerce today. So today I'm really lucky to have a friend of mine and someone that I'm really excited to be doing some exciting things with. We've got Ben Malol. So many of you guys will know Ben Malol from his Facebook group, from his social media presence. He is a sort of well-known Facebook marketing expert. He's helped many different companies scale 6, 7, even 8 figures at times out of his agency, essentially. And you know, he's been featured in Forbes and CBS. He's always on his mom's Facebook, as he likes to say. He's an excellent guy. He's here to talk to us about Facebook ads, what he's known for, but also beyond that, I think a big thing that goes underlooked in social media marketing today is the entire creative funnel. And so that's something that I'm really excited to be here talking about Ben with. He's a super creative guy. So welcome to the Robust Marketer here, Ben Malol. Welcome aboard.
Man. Thanks for having me, dude. What an intro! Wow, I feel I think I gotta live up to those standards now.
Yeah, well, it's you know, I've known you for a while. I know you've handled a bunch of cool projects.
Right.
Just give us your, we did that interview before where we talked a little bit, but for people who may not have seen that, let's just give a recap of how you got to where you are today.
Right. So yeah, first of all, as you guys know, my name is Ben Malol. I've actually gotten into internet marketing back when I was 16, but never really successful with it. Just playing around with it as a hobby, eBay, Amazon. Nothing really substantial. I got deep into it about 3-4 years ago when I got into the e-commerce dropshipping game, as people know today, Shopify, AliExpress, and that's where I first started my internet marketing journey. Started a few stores, was successful, but I really loved the Facebook advertising side of it, the marketing side of it more than anything else. So that's why I really transitioned and started, first of all, building my personal brand around that, which actually, it built up as sort of a mistake. Not a mistake, but I wasn't intending of building a personal brand. I was just like producing a lot of content to people in groups, and slowly more and more people would follow me, and then suddenly I have a personal brand, as you might call it. I transitioned that into more of a Facebook ad side, analytics, marketing, because that's what I really have passion for, which eventually has changed to my agency, my Facebook advertising course, Facebook advertising presence, as you call it, and my e-commerce brands. I rely heavily on the social media marketing aspect of it. Even in my current businesses and my e-commerce businesses, I don't really deal with the e-commerce side. I'm just like the marketing guy. So that's how I came to be where I am, starting from e-commerce dropshipping to eventually developing my Facebook advertising skill to social media skills to now really focusing on social media marketing as an essence.
Nice. So I want to give the audience a real a context to start with about your expertise. Tell me a little bit about what your day looks like. Tell me like a heavy day in your sort of social media agency, like what that looks like. Because I know you've got multiple different projects going on, lots of irons in the fire, working with different teams. Give me an idea, as it relates to Facebook ads, what does your day look like?
Right. Now, in all honesty, my days are super unorganized. It's something I'm working on. But due to me actually being part of a lot of projects, including e-commerce stores, agency, education, and some projects I'm a marketing manager on, my day usually consists of, at this point, is managing the teams and less putting in the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of my time is around the design and the stories behind the marketing that I do, on top of actually running the ads and giving guidance to my team on how to run the ads. So essentially, my day will sometimes be split from me working on my agency and working on the clients, to being part of projects and running ads to the projects, to focusing on the store. Today I try to outsource as many things as possible, and by outsourcing I'm not talking about really getting like VAs, which we have, but more outsourcing and getting executives and making sure that the company is organized and working in a specific route and has a very, very aligned vision. Now all of the things that I'm actually working on are aligned to one purpose at the end, which is to bring more social media marketing to the world in a more entertaining way and less of a salesy Facebook ads, like front end, buy this way. So that's usually how I structure my day, of like seeing what's highest value and then focusing on that and more of the vision and pushing the vision forward and just going into the nitty gritty of stuff.
Gotcha. And you mentioned there this idea of the Facebook ads, actually getting it out there, as well as what we're calling the creative funnel, essentially,
right,
and the ideas behind. And so we'll get into that aspect, but let's start with Facebook. Facebook is an essential skill, that everyone needs in e-commerce. It's the essential marketing tool. There's lots of ways to supplement. There's lots of different ways to take it, but you have to master Facebook ads. So my first question is Facebook ads dead?
It's a good question, and the answer is it actually is dead. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn it, let's get out of here.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over.
Cut. But yeah, so essentially, Facebook ads, a lot of people see it as like dead or like it's not as it used to be. And that's right. It is not as it used to be. And that's how the world is. With marketing, things change. Something that worked 3 years ago doesn't work today. Something that worked even a year ago doesn't work today. Heck, even something that we used to do 3 months ago isn't as effective today. And that's just how the world evolves. With Facebook ads, in essence, it's a traffic source. That's what people don't understand. It's not a way to make money. It's not like I'm making money with Facebook ads. It's not that people that do Facebook ads are making money with that. They're sending traffic into something that they're making money with or building a business around. What changed is the fact that there is more saturation in the market, which means that costs are more expensive. And that's not essentially a bad thing. That just means that there needs to be a bit more knowledge and you have to approach it in less of a quick money, fast cash type way and more of like a CEO and a businessman. You have to treat Facebook ads not only as a traffic source, but what are you trying to accomplish and what type of traffic you want to bring. You know, it's not only about like running ads to this product or that's it and then like let's see how much money comes in. A good example will be that as you know and a lot of people do, I run like the Facebook ads group which has like over 45,000 people and I run like my student groups and stuff that have thousands of people and the questions that I always get constantly is they post a screenshot of like their ads and like why isn't my stuff working? I'm getting this and this cost per click, I'm getting this and this, why isn't this working? Am I not targeting correctly? Am I not optimizing correctly? The first question I ask them is not about even the Facebook ad. It's about show me your product, show me your store, show me your funnel. 90% of the time, 9 out of 10 times, the product is usually complete shit. I'm not even joking. It's so bad that you open it up on mobile. It's not even about product. It's not even about the product. It's about the whole website. I'll go in, I'll open the product page that they're running traffic to on my mobile phone. First thing is, half of the screen is the logo. Second thing is, there's pop-ups coming in from every sector. Wheelio, gamifying, opting in, discounts, coupons.
They just hit a checklist.
I don't even see the product because of all of the pop-ups. Facebook ads is not the problem here. Is that your product and funnel is you're not sending people to something that even can sell. So Facebook ads is an external source of your actual business. So to answer your question in a nutshell, Facebook ads is not dead and it would actually never be dead unless Facebook is dead, which would never happen how Mark Zuckerberg is pushing his companies. But Facebook has just changed, you know, in the good and the bad.
It's closing its door to lower quality experiences.
Pretty much,
right?
Yeah.
Lower quality customer experiences, lower quality store experiences. That's what is happening. So the answer is obvious. Facebook isn't dead,
right?
But businesses always need to evolve, and they're evolving for the better because of this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you just have to. Yeah, I think that's pretty crystal clear.
Right.
And that's a really interesting point you bring up about the 90-10. It's probably higher than that. You know, like 90% of stores are just not thinking about their experience or their strategy. They're sort of like their overall strategy, their creative funnel. And so, but the thing is, there are Facebook hacks. There are things that you need to know. There are ways to manipulate it and ways to, for scale, ways to not manipulate it, but ways to get scale and get volume and get sales.
It's an algorithmic platform. At the end of the day, there's ways to utilize it in better and worse ways.
And there's always, so people who are doing it all the time are going to be better because it's always changing.
Exactly.
And so it's something you do have to engage in, but it's almost not worth engaging until you've really put some good thought into your creative funnel, as we say, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the main essence of it.
Nice. So just quickly, so I'm going to bring it back to the nitty gritty for a second on Facebook ads. Like, what are some of the key things that have changed 6 months ago? Is it just about that customer experience? Like, what are some practical things of the ways it's changed in the past 6 months?
Right. So Facebook are now treating the Facebook advertising platform in more. They're pushing a lot of user experience. And I've actually been on the news and like Weekend Sunrise in Australia and like CBS actually talking about this. When like there was a big talk about like Zuckerberg where I don't remember the nitty gritty, but the whole privacy, not talking about like the Cambridge Analytica aspect, but the fact is like how they're changing the whole advertising and pushing more user experience, which basically means if your business or your ads are not only compliant, which has always been like that, but they have to actually give out good content, then Facebook will not treat you as well and you will not actually get customers as well. So the main difference is first of all, this is a natural difference where there's more advertisers, so costs are more expensive. So the biggest difference is costs are more expensive. And by costs, I basically mean that you're paying more to basically get traffic. So if a year ago or 2 years ago, you would pay, let's say, $10 to get 3,000 people in first world countries to see your ad, today you're probably paying $10 to get 1,000 people to see your ads, which is good and bad. Because number one, the thing is that if ads are more expensive, that means that you have to have a higher customer value. And if you need to have a higher customer value, you have to build a legitimate business, which people will see that as a bad thing, but I see that as a good thing because now you have the option to actually build a sustainable brand that won't make you $100,000 in 2 months, but will make you much more in the long term because you're actually putting in business aspects and treating it as a CEO.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main aspects. The other aspect is that Facebook wants you to produce actual good content because now they're showing less ads on your newsfeed. I think if I remember correctly, it used to be like 1 ad out of like 5 posts. The organic posts today, it might be like 1 out of 10 posts, which means people are seeing less ads. Now that's a good thing and a bad thing. 1, the ads are essentially more expensive, but 2, potential customers react more positively to these ads because they see less of them.
Yeah.
Which means, yes, you'll be paying more for ads, but these customers are going to be worth more because they're not used to seeing ads. So that's really the main changes that Zuckerberg and like Facebook actually introduced to the market, putting more on the user experience rather than just like pushing in traffic and like sending ads and selling whatever you want.
Yeah. So when it comes to methodologies of actually testing, scaling Facebook ads, what, like, you don't give me your strategies,
right.
but just talk about your sort of philosophy for doing that. Are you a very systematic person? Like, I know you're an interesting kind of person because you've got this creative side,
right.
Where you're thinking very creatively about the brand, but you're also very data. That's a really good way to be, essentially.
Exactly.
So talk about your methodology overall for both for testing and scaling Facebook ads.
Right. It's a great question. Now the thing is, it's not essentially contradicting each other. It's actually empowering each other. Now my methodology with Facebook is that there's 2 routes to take. Facebook ads can be a traffic source of how you basically build a brand and push it forward into building something that is not essentially only reliant on Facebook ads, but then there's another side of Facebook ads where you're building a store or a pop-up shop or just like an offer and then running Facebook ads and traffic to that offer. And you can only rely on Facebook ads, which is completely fine. We still do that today, right? Those 2 methodologies are, if we're going on the churn and burn or like the fast make money type thing, it's essentially, I can't go as deep because that would be like 3 hours. But in a nutshell, and most people that actually have experienced Facebook ads will understand this, is I test a lot of different angles with an auto bid campaign essentially, right? I run $10, $20 a day ads on different angles and targeting. Let's say I have a specific product and I want to run traffic to it. Let's just take, for example, a dog product, right? So I'll be targeting dog interests, right? But it depends how much money I want to put in and invest into actually testing it. I can be testing 5 different audiences and putting like an auto bid, $20 on each one of those audiences. That will essentially result in $100 a day because 20 times 5 is 100. Or I can invest less and only put 1 ad and combine all the audiences. Now I'll usually scale any ad that is auto bid that is giving me a profitable return on investment after 2-3 days. And by profitable return on investment, of course, I mean that I'm making more after expenses of advertising and after cost of goods. So if I'm sending a $20 dog leash or whatever, and I need $10 to even buy the product, and I'm paying $5 to get a purchase through ads, I'm not left with $5 profit. So if I'm left with profit after 2-3 days, I usually scale it. Now there's a million different ways to scale, so don't take this as obsolete what I'm about to say, because there's a lot of different ways to do the same thing, and there's not like some of them are bad, some of them are good. They're different routes. How I do it is I just run very big ad set budgets where like $1,000, $2,000 a day with a manual bid. And a manual bid for me is less, I don't treat it as a manual bid, I actually call it budget control, because I can put $1,000, $2,000, but if the bid is correctly, I will only spend a specific percentage of that manual bid budget, depending on the bid that I'm actually putting on it. So if I'm putting a $2,000 budget, but I'm bidding on like $20 cost per purchase, then the ads maybe one day will only spend $300 out of that $2,000, and another day will spend $800. Maybe another day won't spend anything at all. But it's more controlled and it's more sustainable. And on top of that, that's the way I basically push numbers like higher. I test on the audience level a lot, and whatever works, I'll duplicate that, completely the same targeting, and I will target a manual. I will do the same thing but with manual bid. Of course, there's a lot of different testing structures. Sometimes today I even went to 10 different audience segments, which includes USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, first world country Europe, third world country Europe, Asia, top tier Asia, low tier Asia, literally 10 different segments, South Africa. And then I test those 10 different segments, and then suddenly, because people, this is another thing this is like a golden nugget that about Facebook ads that people don't understand. They go straight to USA and Canada. And you'll be surprised that from the past year, the audience, the countries that worked for us the most, like 90, maybe 80% of the time, were actually not USA and Canada. Sometimes it would be South America, sometimes it would be Asia, sometimes it would be Australia. And I'll tell you exactly why as well. In the US, let's say, for example, we have a 5% conversion rate, okay? But we're paying about $30 CPM, which we're paying $30 to actually show our ad to 1,000 people. Okay. But we have a 5% conversion rate. But let's say we're targeting Mexico, okay, and our conversion rate is only 2%, lower than the US, but we're paying $3 to show our ad to 1,000 people, which essentially means we're paying a tenth of the price that we're paying for the US to show our ads, but our conversion rates are only half.
Yep.
So essentially, Mexico will bring us much more money because we're paying much less, but the conversion rate together with how much we're paying to show our ads to the audience eventually adds up to bring us more revenue. So don't only focus on first world. We actually even, our testing isn't, sometimes we don't even start with USA, Canada. We'll go in and target like third world if our product is cheap. And then you'll notice all of these different changes. But don't be strict on USA, Canada, Australia in the top 5. A quick tip as well, and I'll close this question, is go and search the top 25 GDP countries in Google, and those should be your countries that you want to target. Those include a lot of European countries that, because at the end of the day, USA is as rich as the Netherlands, but the Netherlands is much cheaper traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's funny just using GDP as a metric, because I know a lot, you try to eyeball it a lot. People will try to be like, oh, that country, but you miss ones that you know,
exactly,
don't give Latvia enough respect, you know?
Right, essentially, dude, who says Latvia doesn't have a few people that want to buy dog collars?
Yeah,
you know?
And the e-commerce trend is growing globally, so it's those emerging markets are going to be massive opportunities for people.
Exactly.
Very cool. So yeah, you've given a lot of like sort of insight into scaling, testing, things like that. But talk a little bit more, you know, about the other aspect that we've talked a lot about, which is the creative funnel. So basically starting with how your brand, starting with your brand, then how your brand appears to customers, usually through social media, Facebook ads, through to the landing page. Like what's your sort of philosophy on the creative funnel, essentially?
Good. Yeah. So basically, you gotta understand, why do people actually buy products? Now, there's a few different people. First of all, sometimes people will buy a product just because they need the product. Okay, if it's like a kitchen tool, right? If it cuts a cucumber fast, and oh cool, it's a cucumber slicer, I need that.
I slice cucumbers.
Right, that's all you need. Sometimes people don't really care about the brand of the cucumber slicer. You know, if it's a $10 or $100 cucumber slicer, they'll probably buy the $10 one. But on the other aspect, there's products that people don't buy, they're essentially the product, but they buy the story or brand behind the product. That's what you see with apparel a lot. That's why Louis Vuitton, people buy $1,000 Louis Vuitton shirts. That's why people buy a $40,000 Rolex watch, you know, because they see the story behind the brand. Totally. And that's essentially the route those are the two different routes. There's not one that's good or bad. There's just two different routes. Now the story, what we're actually talking about with the creative funnel side is that try to imagine this as you're selling a product, but you're not only selling the product, you're selling a story behind it. So you can be selling a shirt or a ring or a specific piece of jewelry, and you can buy it for $3 from AliExpress, but you can sell it for $10, or you can even sell it for $300, depending on what you have behind it. Now, a good way to actually showcase this is look at websites that just have a bunch of random general products, and a website that has a very, very optimized website. The pictures look HD, the website is optimized, it looks good, there's a story behind it. Let's say your hat, right? Now you have this hat, it's an iStack training hat.
Yeah.
Let's say iStack was a global brand, okay? Like multi-billion-dollar brand, okay? Which it will probably get there in the next week or two, right? But let's say it's a multi-billion-dollar brand. Now let's say somebody sees that and it's like, oh cool, that's a cool hat. Now on a general store where there's like a bunch of random products like pillows and hats and maybe like some statues, you can sell that hat for $10, right? But let's say we're gonna take that same exact hat and we're gonna create an entire store around that hat. We're gonna talk about the specifics of it. We're gonna have a zoom in on like the material. We're gonna talk about the quality, the weight of it, show testimonials of that hat. The site is so optimized and like it looks literally like a piece of art. You could probably sell a hat for $500 and it's the exact same hat. The only difference is that here you're just like trying to sell the hat, but on the other one, you're not really trying to sell the hat, you're trying to sell the story behind the hat.
That's like Swatch, right? Like the famous story of that is Swatch. Swatch watches came out and they're the cheapest watches to make, and they were selling them for $15 or something like that, and nobody wanted them. They're like, this is these zany. Then all of a sudden they started putting them in glass cases in an all-white storeroom and everything like that, and they bumped the price up to $100, and that's what they became worth to people.
Apple do the same thing. Movement have actually started a cool thing as well. And another example that I can give you is like one of our e-commerce brands, we're relying on a lot of our sales and our traffic, not essentially from sending people to the product page, but from creating viral videos. Now, the thing about a viral video is that if you create a viral video, that the purpose of it, other than brand awareness, is that you're getting a lot of very cheap CPMs. What I mean by that is that let's say we're running an ad, just a front-end product ad. Every dollar that you pay is going on advertising. People aren't really sharing it. You know, so if you're paying like let's say $1 to show it to 1,000 people, then you have $1 CPM, right? You're paying $10 to show it to 1,000 people, your CPM is at $10. People are not sharing or commenting because it's just basically a product. They see it, they don't see a reason to share it, they're just like either buy or not buy. But if you create a viral video, around the product. And by viral, I mean it can be entertaining or comedic, or people really react well to it. They'll have an incentive to share. Now, if we create a viral video and let's say 1 out of every 3 people share our video, that essentially means that we're going to pay the CPM, regular CPM, on actually showing this ad to people, but we're going to get another 33% free CPM on all the people that share it.
Yeah.
And actually, it's beyond that, because the second somebody shares the video, it's exposed to thousands of their friends. So on a regular product, I'll be paying $8 for, let's say $10 to reach 1,000 people. On a viral video, I might be paying 50 cents to show it to 1,000 people because of how many times it's shared.
And it's self-fulfilling because every time it's shared, Facebook is giving you a thumbs up towards,
much,
your cost could potentially come down the more people love your content too.
So that's how we look at it, and that's how other people should look at it. When you actually create viral content and you create like something that people have an incentive to share, in the end of the day, yeah, you're creating brand awareness, but in simple terms, you're just getting free advertising because of people sharing it and commenting and showing it to their friends and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different aspects with it, but once you start to look at it as more of an art form and less of a way to make money, that's where you're going to grow a business from even making $100,000 a month to making $10 million a month, for example.
Now, talk about the actual creative architecture. Like, is carpet bombing still the thing to do? Are people still really throwing out like a ton of video content and then measuring 75% of the people who watch that or 75% of the time and going in that way? Like, what's the actual way that you find in terms of ad formats that work best for e-commerce products?
So carpet bombing is a good example of like a way to kind of not hack the system, but a way to explain the system very well to people. Because if you go and retarget people that watch 75% of the video, that's already a warm audience. So you're kind of doing a brand awareness type thing by doing that. Even with these viral videos I just talked about,
it's like
we're doing that.
Funnel.
Exactly. Even with the viral videos I just talked about, we're doing that as, in essence, to create audiences that we can target of video viewers. Now, the creative side of it, of course, it changes from business to business to business. But the main aspect of it is to create a story behind the product. So we can take the hat again for an example. You can have an image of the hat, right? Or you can have a video of the hat, where the video shows people wearing it. It shows zoom ins, zoom outs, high quality definition images. The copy isn't essentially, do you love this cool hat? Make sure to get it now. 30% off. Use discount hat now in checkout. Cool. Some people will like the hat and want to buy it for $10 and get 30% off, buy it for $7. Or if we had a longer form copy with some humor, comedy, pain points in it, with a dope ass video. Like, for example, it's called like iStack Training, right? So let's say iStack Training was a type of a brand that is about stacking in the philosophy. There's stacking called in NLP.
Oh, there's a philosophy of stacking, yeah.
So I'm sure it's actually related to that. So let's say in the ad, you would be like, the first headline would be, have you ever heard about stacking your emotions? ? People are like, what's that? We want to welcome you to the world of iStack Training. Get your hat to join the movement. This hat is made out of 75% content, let's say 5% content, 10% polyester, and 85% epicness.
And 100% value.
And 100% value and stuff like that. With a video that really showcases the actual hat. So there's no essential, like you can never answer the question of how to make a brand or a creative site in like one answer.
Yeah.
That's the thing, it doesn't have an answer. The answer, like, it's very spiritual to say it, but the answer comes from within in a way. Like, I'll treat a million different brands in a million different ways, but the essence stays the same. Create a story, understand the value, and push the value, and that's the product. Push the story, push the story and the team and like whatever the essence is, and not the actual hat. Like, for example, one of my agencies, that MFM that I showed you, it really focuses on the team, and that's about what we're gonna do for your business. As you saw, like the website is very simple, but the team is so insane, and the way that the team page is visualized is that every person has a full screen intro and bio with images. So people see that, and at the end of the day, you want to hire a marketing agency not because they have a cool website and because they say that we're gonna do this for you, this for you, this for you. Because what is an agency, or what is any company that does service? It's about the team.
Yep.
So that's why we're pushing that.
And your experience as badass internet marketers, because there's a lot of agencies out there that haven't come natively to digital and then aren't going to have this sort of cutting edge skill. So I see that being.
So start actually, people need to start looking at that. And I'll give another tip, by the way, of how to structure your mind to actually think on these levels. Because it's something that you can't really learn from a course just like that. You can learn some tips and tricks to do stuff like this, like different copy techniques or video techniques. But the best way that we actually focused on is we're very involved in the world and trends and stuff like that. Like, very involved. Like, as unproductive as it is, we watch new movies. You know, if it's the Avengers, if it's like trends that come on, if it's a cryptocurrency that we saw, we're very involved in what's going on with YouTube, with the world, with the economy, with if it's politics or whatever, we're involved in it because this teaches us how the world is responding to different things, and then we leverage that. So like with cryptocurrency, we leveraged that and did like a full-on campaign around cryptocurrency. With Donald Trump, we actually created a campaign around the Donald Trump controversy, funny shirts and stuff like that. And the reason it was so successful is because it was on a trend. If we would have created the Donald Trump campaign now, it would probably not worked as good because we played on the trend. It's about understanding what people want and really finding the timing correctly.
And sort of, it's a way of like, you're in their mind. If you're showing things that are trending right now and leveraging them in ads, essentially, it's sort of like it's an inception, right? Because it's like, that's on my mind already. Here's a new take on that. Here's a brand that's associated with that.
Exactly.
I see that being a really cool creative tip.
Exactly, yeah.
Very
that's like
cool.
Another route to take. It's not essentially related to the brand aspect, but people can just like leverage trends, you know?
So you got to take this whole creative funnel into mind, and then you got to learn the nitty gritty like tactics of testing and scaling.
Yeah.
And that's a really good way to do it. So do you think, can you build a business alone on on Facebook ads? Do you think it's a wise idea to build a full business on Facebook ads? And it's funny, we did a survey recently, and I think probably it was 75% of the people of our e-commerce survey said 80% of their advertising budget or more was on Facebook ads. So a lot of people are getting by on. You can get by on Facebook ads.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely, like if you can build a business completely reliant on Facebook ads, of course you can. Is it suggested? It depends what your values are or what you want to do. Do you just want to make some money? Go run some Facebook ads for a store. Like people have been doing stuff that are very, very fast cash for years, like affiliate marketing, black hat stuff. And I know people that have been doing this since 1995. You know, they change their marketing every time, but they're still doing the fast cash thing. Yeah. And they're multi-millionaires.
And they go from one trend to another.
But they understand that. They understand that the market is evolving, and they know that, okay, it's dead now, let's move to the other thing. Okay, this is dead now, we're going to the other thing. And it's not like anything of these things are dead. It's just like the marketing strategies behind these aspects are dead. So Facebook ads, in a way, is not dead. Just the marketing way to approach Facebook ads that was like 3 years ago is dead in a way. Yeah. Facebook ads is still like a huge market. If it was dead, you won't be seeing advertising. Now, to answer the question, how I actually see it is, why is it so popular is because there was a big surge in internet marketing industries in the past few years. And as you know, like 10 years ago, for example, it was still pretty big, but it wasn't as big as today. And Facebook ads was the first thing. Facebook ads, Shopify. It's not even less about Facebook ads, it's more of the Shopify trend that started like a few years back, which I got into it when I actually started. But the thing is that it was so easy when it got started that people got so used to it that they didn't see a reason to actually build a legitimate business. They didn't even know what it means to have a legitimate business. They thought that this is a business. Yeah. Running ads to a Shopify store is a business. I don't need anything else. Google, YouTube, fuck that, only Facebook ads. And that's the problem. And it worked. Yeah. And again, it still works today. It's a bit more difficult. But because people were so used to that, that's why you suddenly see people falling off because advertising costs are getting more expensive. Yep. Customer value isn't getting more higher because people are very, very involved in only drop shipping. Then suddenly they're not profitable as much because they have to pay too much money to get a purchase. And so there's two routes to take with this. It's a great learning ground, testing ground, training ground, but have a higher vision and understand that. Be aware that it's a trend, or like be aware that this is a way to supplement something that you want to build in the future. That's how you should approach it.
Very cool.
Right.
So I think we can also announce here, we've got Ben Malol also is involved in e-commerce all-star secrets. We've got Ben on board for our 6-part mini course to teach basically an overview of some of his Facebook methods as well as some more stuff about creative. Super excited to have him involved. And again, if we were rounding up the Avengers of e-commerce here, the all-stars, we have our Captain Ecom with Nick Peroni. If you had to be an Avenger, what would you pick, do you think?
That's a good question. Iron Man is pretty cool, but I don't like Iron Man as much as like Tony Stark. He seems like a cool ass dude. I'll probably be Tony Stark.
Well, then I guess that would have to make you Tony Scale in this case.
yeah, I guess that's true.
You got Scale Industries.
That's true.
Showing both the social, creative, and Facebook nitty gritty, which is the most I've ever said nitty gritty in an interview.
I still want to have an Iron Man suit though.
We're gonna get you a Gummy Man suit, I think.
I'll be fine with that.
But we're super excited for the cool stuff we're doing with Ben this summer. You can catch him at ECML as well. Live in Barcelona on stage. He told me that we're going to have a rave after, so
we will.
I'm very excited about that. But thanks for coming by my mansion today. And I wasn't able to make you cry on my Oprah couch, but I've still got one more interview to do that today.
A few more days, don't worry.
I'm going to make it go. Okay, cheers, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.